What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Midnight Collective podcast. This is Eddie, and today I want to have a real, unfiltered conversation about something that hits home pretty hard for me and is a very large topic in my life: fatherhood. But also, fatherhood as a single man. And no, I don't just mean that as in a relationship status, I mean that as nobody is there helping, nobody in the home to also parent, just you as a man taking care of your child. And in my case, a beautiful little girl, and what that truly means. Now, let's be honest, this isn't the way most of us pictured it. No one goes into fatherhood thinking, I'm going to do this alone. And yet, a lot of us find ourselves in this situation, raising kids with little to no help from the other parent, navigating emotions, responsibilities, and sacrifices all on our own. And this doesn't only apply to men. I know there are way too many women out there facing the same struggle. However, this podcast is focused on men, and I know that some of the things we will be talking about here today will resonate with our women listeners as well. So this is not easy. It's exhausting. It's frustrating. And there are moments when we feel completely alone in it. But here's the truth. Our kids need us. No matter what's going on with the other parent, no matter how the relationship ended, no matter how unfair the situation might feel, we have to show up. And I want to emphasize this now. Show up for your children. You brought them into this world. They never asked to be here. They never asked to have a broken home. Or two parents, possibly even four, if both end up finding partners. Your children should be everything to you in this world. And that's what this episode is about. The challenges, the struggles, the wins, and the responsibility we all have as men and parents to be present for our children, no matter what. So if you're a single dad, if you're co-parenting, if you're fighting to be in your child's life, or if you're one of the few men or possibly many men that aren't in your child's life, I see you, and this episode is for you. Now, the challenge of doing it alone, right? Let's talk about one of the hardest parts, feeling like you're carrying all the weight on your own. Some of us have the majority of the custody, handling the day-to-day grind. School drop-offs, bedtime routines, doctor's appointments, scraped knees, tears, laughter, all of it. Others might not have full custody, but fight every day to be involved to make sure their child knows that they're loved and supported. There are instances where we might not have full custody, but you're still responsible for handling all those day-to-day life things for your child. And that's okay. Own up to it. Be the parent you never had. At the end of the day, if you have your child for an hour, or 24 hours a day, they will never deserve anything less than your absolute best and the absolute most that you can give them, regardless of any outside factors. And sometimes, let's be real, it feels like we're the only ones putting in some effort. That's one of the toughest parts. When the other parent isn't doing as much as they should, when they're inconsistent, or when they show up only when it's convenient for them. And man, I won't lie to you, that sucks. Not because we're expecting help for ourselves, but because we know what our child deserves. They deserve two engaged, loving parents. When one falls short, the other one always has to pick up the slack. It's easy to get caught up in the frustration, the resentment, the why am I the only one putting in the work feeling. And trust me, I get it. But here's the thing, you do it because your child needs it. Not because it's fair, not because the other parent should be doing more or less, not because you're going to get credit for it. You do it because that little person that you made is looking to you to be the constant, to be the safe place, to be the dad or parent that they deserve. And our children deserve the world from us in every which way and form. Look, there's going to be a time, probably many times, when you need to stand up for your child. And as a single dad, that responsibility falls on you. Maybe it's advocating for them in school, making sure that they get the support they need. Maybe it's stepping up when the other parent drops the ball and your child is left disappointed. Maybe it's simply being the one to show up when no one else does. And let's be clear, standing up for your child doesn't always mean fighting. It doesn't mean tearing the other parent down or getting into unnecessary conflict. It means being their voice where they don't have one. It means making sure they never have to question whether or not they are loved, whether or not they are a priority. It means that at the end of the day, every day, of this little human's life, they know that you are reliable. You will have their back, and they can run to you for guidance. That feeling starts now, by the way. Feeling like you can trust your parents. Growing up, I remember not knowing if I could trust my own, which one would have my back one day to the next. It's important now, no matter the age, that your child feels and knows that they can fall back into your arms and that they will forever be protected by you. And listen, I know some people want to say, well, that's how I was raised, and why can't I do the same? That is called generational trauma, passing on what you felt as a child to your own, having them grow up in the very same way that you did. That is not okay. That is why over time generations have become less and less powerful. We now need to build up our children, and that starts with this very simple thing. And sometimes that means making sacrifices. That means adjusting your work schedule, rearranging plans, showing up tired because they need you more than you need sleep. That means being consistent even when the other parent isn't. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what's fair, it's about what's right. And doing what's right for your own children will never be wrong. Jobs, friends, hobbies, all of that will be there. Your child only grows up once. And if any of us can attest to all the things that we felt we wished we had growing up, don't let your child be the next person in the long line of history wishing they had better. All right, so this next one's going to be tough for a lot of men, me included, but it's crucial. No matter what happened between you and the mother of your child, no matter the breakup, no matter the issues, the past, you have to respect her. Not for her sake, not because she deserves it, not because it's easy. You do it for your child. This kid is watching, always. And how you talk about their mother, how you treat her, how you navigate that relationship, it matters. Even if it's difficult, even if she's inconsistent, even if she makes things harder than they need to be. You take the high road. You communicate with respect. You don't talk bad about her in front of your child. You keep it about them, not about the drama. And I know it's easier said than done, but I won't shy away from this and say I haven't been there also. I won't say I've never talked badly about the mother of my own child, or like I've never treated her with disrespect. It's hard to be a parent. Also, co-parenting with someone who doesn't share that sentiment of mutual respect. Knowing that you can't talk to the other person a certain way, or treat them however you want, or say things in front of the child in a way that they could repeat. That's not okay. Setting that boundary now, no matter which side you set it from, is probably going to be the hardest part about parenting in two separate households. Because one day, your child will grow up. They'll look back and they'll see who handled things with grace and who didn't. They'll remember who kept their best interests at heart and who made it about ego. And that's not always easy. There might be moments where you have to bite your tongue. There might be times when you have every right to be angry. But the bigger picture, the one that includes your child's emotional well-being, that has to come first. They have to come first. And I'm not saying that you need to do the right thing now so you can be validated by your own son or daughter later in life. But in no way is that okay either. But do the right thing now, so that when they grow up, you know you did everything you could or had to ensure that they grew up with no drama, with no memories of mom and dad fighting, with no way of knowing that what was being done or said to you when you were just trying to be the best parent you could be. Raising a child to know nothing but happiness and love, that's the goal. That's why we're here. Now it's time to talk about something that some people see as being harder than it should be. Showing up no matter what. Here's the bottom line. Whether you have full custody, split custody, or just a few weekends a month, you need to show up every single time. You make the calls, you send the texts, you show up for the games, the school plays, the birthdays, the random Tuesdays just because you can. And I hear a lot from people sometimes about how they don't get enough time and the complaints of custody and excuses on why they do or don't do the things they for their children. I clearly do not understand those people. We, as men, we are the ones shaping our children in very specific ways. We will be the ones who teach them about safety. We will be the ones who teach them about self-respect and respecting others. We, as fathers, will be the ones to show them how to protect themselves and others should they ever need to. We need to be there to show them how to ride their bikes, to make s'mores, to take them to their first dance, and to be there for every holiday that matters. Our children deserve fathers who show up. Our children deserve fathers who don't run from the responsibilities, or better yet, the opportunity to be the greatest father they ever knew. But biggest point of all is you do not disappear. And let me emphasize this. You don't disappear. You don't let this little person ever think that their dad doesn't care, doesn't love them. You don't let the system or the situation or the circumstances push you out of your child's life. Because no matter what's happening with the other parent, you are still their dad. And that title, that responsibility, it's bigger than anything else. Being a father isn't just about being there when it's easy. It's about showing up when it's hard. It's about being the man you wish you had growing up. Or if you were lucky enough to have that example, it's about carrying that forward. Because at the end of the day, did you do the best you could? Did you give them everything they needed? Weekly, daily, by the hour, even by the second? Did your child look at you and ever think to themselves, wow, this man could probably do better? Think about that. If you were ever that child, how did that feel? Wishing your father would do this, give you that, be here for this, even just show you some support? Do you want to be that father? Or do you want to be the father that your children are inspired by, that they could look up to? Be the father they will forever need and always be proud of. Fatherhood is not easy, especially when you're doing it alone. But it is worth it. Every sacrifice, every late night, every moment of exhaustion, every time you had to rise above the frustration, it's all shaping the kind of person your child will become. And trust me, one day, they're going to look back and see everything you did for them. Every moment you showed up, every time you put them first. And that's what matters. So to every single dad out there, grinding, pushing through, doing your best, keep going. Your child will never forget the man who showed up, the man who chose to be better, to do better, to take the situation that they found themselves in and chose to rise above it and never let it crush them. I promise you, one day you'll look back and know you did the right thing. Know that you did what you had to do when you had to do it. One day, when you see your son or daughter living their best life, no matter how your own looks, you'll feel like you accomplished the greatest part of life. Because at the end of the day, that's what being a father is all about. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. If this resonated with you, if you know another dad who needs to hear this, share with them. Or if there are any mothers out there who just need to hear this for their own partner's sake, have them listen as well. We are here to build a community of men who show up for their kids no matter what, building stronger people for this generation and the next. Until next time, take care, keep pushing forward, keep showing up, forge that legacy.